But this all came about, Joan. Of course, Steve is a pastor of Bethlehem Christian Church, and he's going to be on a future Focus of the Church program with Mike Smith.
Yes.
And so Steve, I've known Steve for a long time, Steve comes in and he gets to telling me about what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay?
That's always scary.
I pointed at Joan there for the radio audience. And and I apologize. I've been promoting this thing as a book, and apparently it's not.
It is a book.
It is, okay.
It's just a new way to get a book. It's presented in episodes, like we have the free pilot episode. You can go online.
I got on your website. I got on and I saw that.
And so we're doing episodes so that you can buy the episode, or you can purchase the entire book, or you can do a monthly membership and get extras involved, or you can do a yearly membership and get even more extras.
Oh, this is called, you're calling this Stained Glass Windows.
That's the title of the first one, yes. The entire series, it's a 5-book series. The entire series is called the Madison Series. Okay. The first book is called Stained Glass Windows.
I don't know what it is. Because we started out, we were talking, with local people about local things, and we'd bring, the magistrates and the commissioners and the mayors and all this stuff in here. But recently, we've had people approach us, Bill McCann,
yes, sir,
with a book.
Yeah.
And then you guys, and then Wes Cartwright apparently has written a children's book.
Okay. Well, you're right, because like what you said when we came in here this morning about the the writers' strike and all these things in the entertainment industry.
This is devastating that Hollywood is going to go on strike.
Yes, and this kind of what we have here, our endeavors in the entertainment industry are created. This opportunity is being created by really, it's a grassroots campaign for people just frustrated with mainstream entertainment and the lack of options there are. The episode structure that we created here, it was born out of this Netflix generation that we live in. Is that people don't really want to commit to a whole lot of something. They have a very short attention span, and so when Joan put this book together, we thought, well, everybody writes a book, right? I mean, no offense to Bill, right? but everybody and then you're gonna tote that around to your family and friends, like, oh no, somebody's written a book, I got to pay them $39 for that, and probably never read it. So we thought we're going to make this where it's more affordable for everybody, and since everybody now has this propensity to buy things online for like $2.99. I mean, it's not a big investment, these things. You can buy an episode on Amazon Prime for a 30-minute episode of something, $2.99. And I thought, what if we entered this market completely different? So it is going to be a little confusing at the beginning. Like you said, you're like, is it a book? What's going on? Yeah. I had her rewrite the whole thing. It was done. Traditional book.
I enjoyed that.
It was done, complete book done by chapters. And I said, how about we do something completely different? We make this like a streaming type thing. You need to take your book and divide it up into basically, if you're going to read this, I want you to divide it up where you can read it in 20-minute sections. Yeah. And we're going to put it out there, the pilot episode, for free, so everybody can get a taste of it. And then we're going to do episodes, just $2.99 an episode, make it affordable for everyone. And then if you do want to buy the complete book, that's on there as well. So we're educating our market here too. We're doing something completely different and scary.
Yeah, and this is happening. I mean, McCann, when he was in here, now he does some plays.
Yes, sir.
And he was pointing out to Ed Bertner and myself that he used the 20-minute deal. You kind of break it down into 20-minute chunks.
We're so used to that now. And, I mean, everybody is used to that kind of a time span now.
Yeah. And we had Exiled. Billy Luxon was in here, and he wrote a book about exile. We had that. And then Chuck Witt on Wind City Voices.
Yes, sir.
Does a thing.
Okay.
On there with each issue.
Right, yeah.
And it is kind of like a chapter by chapter deal. But it keeps you coming back.
Oh, that's what we're looking at is the book that Joan has written, Stained Glass Windows. The first couple, what we call episodes, will really get you hooked in. because she has created these characters, and we feel like they're part of our family. We've lived with these.
Like you need more.
I mean, sometimes I get confused at church, and I'm thinking we need to pray for one of them, but they don't exist. But she's created these 5 characters, and I guess it's kind of comes from the whole generation of the Friends generation too, the program Friends, and those very strong characters. And so she's created these 5 female characters that are very unique. Why don't you tell us? What am I talking for? You tell us about
for this. He's doing all the talking, but it's your deal.
Yeah.
Well, it began as one book, and it's called Stained Glass Windows because Clay Cross, Christian singer from back in the 90s, actually had a song called Stained Glass Windows.
Okay.
And I heard the song, and when I heard the song, I had the vision for the book immediately, the second that I heard it. And then Clay knows this. I have permission from him to use his music and his lyrics and stuff for the book and all, which is fantastic. So I heard it, and I had the vision, and I saw it all, and it just came together piece by piece, which is the first book that I'm working on. As I began to fill that out, more characters became involved. Elizabeth, I wanted to write characters that were real, that people could relate to, even though it's genre crossing. There's Christianity in there, but there's romance, and there's suspense, and there's action. Each book is stand on its own, even though it's in a series.
Okay.
So each book is individual, and I'm currently working on the second one, but the first one is Lisbeth, and this is her story. Her and her sister Verity are Portuguese sisters, and Lisbeth is a single mom, but she's a police officer trying to navigate all the police work that is going on today and be a single mom and all that. So that's her story there. And then her sister Verity has a heart for taking in special needs children. She takes in abandoned children that nobody wants because they have special needs.
Yeah.
And then their friends, there's Remy, who is a former Israeli soldier. And then there's Ashton, who is a romantic, but she also is very career-driven. So she kind of battles, which is she going to be, the traditional female, or is she going to be the career female? Yeah. And then we have Piper. Piper is kind of the fun one, but she has a lot of secrets that we're not telling yet.
Piper's my favorite.
Before we get into this, let's tell people, because we haven't yet. If somebody out there listening wants to get online, where do they go?
JoanGraves.com.
And it's there.
Yes, it's
because I went to. I just Googled Joan.
Okay.
Googled Joan Graves.
Tim, we've
windows,
had a problem with that for years. The problem is quite comical. Is that Joan Graves is actually a very famous name. You just Google Joan Graves, and we've been battling this for years. In that Joan Graves was the president and head of the Motion Picture Association rating system for many years.
Yeah.
A lot of articles would come up and say why I hate Joan Graves. So
not good for business.
And she owned JoanGraves.com for many years, and I was like, we've got to get that someday.
Well, I had to adjust my search to Joan Graves, and then I typed in Joan Graves stained glass windows.
There you go.
And there it was.
Yes. Yeah, that's good. The Madison Series, stained glass windows, Joan Graves, you'll find her that way. But JoanGraves.com is the website.
I did some extensive research on this, probably about 5 minutes. And but anyway, just to kind of get an idea, and that's when I went, oh, wait a minute now, I've been saying this is a book. But it's just in a different format.
There you go. You got it.
Okay, so I wasn't totally wrong.
No, you're fine.
All right, now you said something here just a second ago that I want to talk about a little bit, because I know this is near and dear to you all. You all have 5 kids.
Yes.
2 of which are special needs.
Yes.
Yes,
And so you have a wealth of experience. Is that the word I'm not
Experiences.
Experiences.
The good and the bad and the ugly and the wonderful and the heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of those emotions that go into play, which is one of the reasons that one of her characters has an affinity for that type of thing too.
Because she said that, and then I went, oh, okay, now you know.
Yeah, and we actually, Joan started a organization for parents of special needs kids many years ago called P3. It's a nonprofit, and it's basically just as a support for those parents that don't have that support network. It's sometimes it's a lonely world in those situations.
I would think
it is.
You know, I can't imagine, but I have been on a couple of occasions. I've been around kids, and no.
Special needs connection, that's a great point, because our youngest son is special needs. He's had probably over 80 hospitalizations in his lifetime. Within the first 24, 48, 36 hours, they were saying he wasn't going to make it. You know, he did. It was a learning experience for all of us. But he was I guess you would say special needs before he was even born, in the fact that it was a high risk pregnancy. I was a DJ on the radio for Baldwin Broadcasting
making the big
Cincinnati.
bucks.
Yeah, he making the big bucks. Morning show host, just like you here. Yeah. And we decided to have a name the baby contest. We couldn't decide the name.
He was our fifth son. We were out of good names.
I know what it is.
And so that's how he got the name DJ. So it's a long storied history of the ups and downs of having that relationship with your child, and it's been wonderful.
It is 7:36, and you're listening to Mornings on Main. Tim Smith along with Steve Graves and Joan Grave. All right, the book.
Yes.
What is that okay to call it that, or what should I call it?
Well, that's great. That's a really good question, and so we're fielding a lot of those questions right now. The Stained Glass Windows is a book. It's finished. It's ready to go. Because
the
we wanted
episode is available now, free, right?
So what we wanted to do, instead of trying to get somebody to commit to a whole book they've never heard of or read, know anything about, we're going to enter this market with a free episode first pilot episode, first chapter. We're calling it episodes for free. Then the thinking is you're going to go ahead and read that for free. You go to joangraves.com. Anybody listening on the radio right now can go to joangraves.com. You can get the pilot episode absolutely free. Just takes a few minutes to enter in your information there, and you can download it. You can read it on your phone. It's called an ebook. You can read it on your phone, laptop, iPad, computer, any of those things. And then hopefully you'll want to know what happens next. And so you can go ahead and purchase the first episode for $2.99. Or you can go ahead and do what we did, the book.
Right there, $2.99.
See, that's we are not asking a great commitment, but we wanted it to make sure it was affordable for everyone. So you can do $2.99 for every episode if you want to, but the real cost saver is to do what we call become a member of the Madison Series. So if you're a membership structure, Madison Series, you actually are going to get every single episode as it's released over the next year. For like 40% off if you would have bought them individually. And then if you want to do that and also get a book, then it's 50% off what we would normally spend. So we're trying to give people an incentive to join this. So once you get hooked on these things, you're going to like it. And we do have, you mentioned audiobook, which is very important to us. We're both avid audiobook listeners. Okay. And so one thing that we're doing also that's new is, I don't know if you've heard, Tim, about all the AI controversy.
Well, the other day, it's entirely possible here within the next 2 or 3 months that Mornings on Main will be done by a computer.
Yeah, I'll come in and be looking at a box over there, right? But I tell you, people don't, a lot of times news is made by fear. People don't need to be scared of this AI thing. This is just talk. But what we're gonna be, I think, probably one of the first full-fledged audiobooks that's done by AI. And so what that means is that we need somebody to read this book, to know where to pause at the right times, know how to say what she intended to be read. Right. And this is where Google AI especially is coming in the market, helping small companies like us put this audio book out there in an AI format. So we're working on that right now, and I'm really excited about it and how it's going to be done. So that will be a structure that's done as well.
Well, Joan, you've always, let's let you talk a little bit.
I mean, you can tell who's the business partner in this and who's the creative end.
But I mean, you have, you're an award-winning freelance writer. I mean, you've written for Winchester Sun and Nicholasville and Herald Leader too, I think. Right?
Yes, Jessamine Journal, Winchester Sun, Herald Leader. I've written for National Magazine, Celebrate Life, and I've been writing for a long time, done a lot of online content providing. So I've been writing for a long time, but it was getting the time together because we do have 2 special needs kids, especially with DJ going in and out of the hospital. And then I've had cancer myself twice. So between all of that, it's been a little hard to get a book together. So I could write in pieces. So I could write, here and there. And I especially loved the Winchester Sun when Bill Blakeman was there. I had a lot of fun with Bill Blakeman aggravating him.
Oh, yeah. Well, he was, he was a lot of fun to aggravate.
He was.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've been writing for a long time. It's been always been a passion of mine. And finally started pursuing it little by little, and then this is like, the ultimate dream come true, what I'm doing now. Because even though I was writing, journalistic type pieces, what I really wanted to do was fiction. That was really where my heart lied.
Well, see, and I appreciate it because Steve brought me in here a little cheat sheet.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And I knew Steve he's got healthcare marketing. He was Aflac forever and a day.
Yes, the famous doc.
I worked on the radio.
Yes,
pastor at the Bethlehem Christian Church. I knew all that. But I did not know that you were an EMT and in healthcare administration. Yes. I did not know that.
Yes, I went to EMT school and graduated EMT school and loved it. I especially like getting on top of cars and ripping the hood off of them.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, okay. I might need you in the detail department out there at Country Time. I can hook you up.
Yeah, and then I ran a cardiology office. I got out of EMT and got in, and I ran a cardiology office, and then got into home health from there.
Well, and I want to read. We got to do another break. I'm sorry.
That's good.
But here's the description on the cheat sheet that you gave me for this. It says, Stained Glass Windows, the first book in the Madison series, is a story of pain, loss, unbearable grief, the unexpected and unmitigated hope.
Yes.
Forgiveness and unending love.
Yes.
I mean, that is a very brief, full description.
That's good. That's true.
It's
and
a brief, full
It is, it is a story of hope. But there is a lot of pain in the beginning as well, though. Which is the message of the book.
It is 7:47. Y'all know Bruce Manley.
Yeah, Bruce.
He always, he's a contributor.
Yeah.
So he says he wrote a book once about how to build a set of stairs. It was a step-by-step guide.
That's so bad.
Okay. All right. So we got that out. He actually sent that to me about 15 minutes ago, and I forgot about it.
But yeah, Tim, I'm going to show you something here. Right. This is incredible how everything is in live time these days. And our account there on our website shows the number of free downloads that are happening live in time. And so this is the past 30 minutes. It's gone up 2,000%.
How about that?
Just since we've been talking,
all 7 listeners have.
All 7 listeners.
Yeah.
That's 7 more than we had an hour ago. So that's why it's up 2,000%.
I get up in the morning and check the obituaries, not to see if I'm in it, but see if I still have 7 listeners.
Yeah, right. That's true. Well, I love small town radio. I mean, I grew up in a small town in Painesville, Kentucky, listening to WSIP, all those guys. Yeah. And I loved it. I mean, I love small towns. That's why we live in Winchester. And why don't you tell the story about how the Madison got started?
The book is set in Madison, Indiana, which is actually just across the river there from
Henderson,
Louisville.
Oh, Louisville. Okay.
And Madison is a very unique town, and Steve was actually there with one of our sons, and they kept seeing these massive power boats that they had, and so he's like, what is going on? So of course him and Jacob had to go check out the power boats and see what was going on, and they were having the Madison Regatta there every 4th of July weekend, and so he's like, you've got to come see this town is amazing. And so we went, and I just fell in love with the place. I began to see places and my characters' houses. I picked out their houses, and the church that's involved in the town square is a huge fountain, and Madison has grown a lot over the years since we've been there, but there was so many little nuggets that they have, like Hinkle's hamburger place is award-winning little restaurant there that features in the book. It's also mentioned in the book. So some of the places are real and other places are fabricated, but it's just a really neat small town, and like Steve said, we just love the small town feel, and I wanted something that was going to be connected. But I also, since I had people coming from Portugal, 2 of my characters come from Portugal and another one from Israel, I had to figure out how to get them here. I had to come up with a reason of how are they going to get here. So I have the Portuguese sister's family is in winemaking. Well, then from that, I had to be, okay, can we grow the same grapes in Madison, Indiana and make the same wine that they do in Portugal? So there was a lot of research that went into that. And then I've had to look at how am I going to get the Israeli soldier here. So Hanover College is close to there, and Woody Harrelson graduated from Hanover College. So I have the Israeli soldier obsessed with Woody Harrelson, and so she wants to go to his college. And so that's how everybody gets there. The others were just born there, but that's how the ones from other countries get there.
What's fascinating to me, and I want to get you to respond to this, because you've been both, I mean, the creativity part of this, and Steve knows what I'm talking about because I've been writing commercials for 50 years, and you find yourself writing the same commercial over and over and over again.
How do you do something different?
With just different names, and so the creativity part of it is really, I'm fascinated with it.
Yes.
We have Bill McCann in, and you've done the same thing. You've been a columnist for newspaper where you got a deadline.
Right.
So I think Bill said something to the effect of, it comes to you and you just start. So that's the creative part of it. He said he's also sat there where he had a deadline and a blank sheet of paper.
Yes.
And Mike Wynn is sitting back in the back listening to that, so he knows what we're talking about there. You got to put a column together, and you got 2 hours, and you got nothing.
Right.
And so what you do, you put something on there. But the creativity part, does that come easy for you, or do you struggle with that? Or
no, it really doesn't. People think that if you're a writer, you just sit down and write.
Yeah.
And that's not how it happens. It starts with, like I said, the song started for this, and I saw the vision, but it changes over time. One of the examples that I absolutely love to use is the movie Pretty Woman. Mm-hmm. That script actually started out as a very dark, dramatic movie. It was not the lighthearted fun, but over time, as they looked at the script and rewrote things, it became what it is. And that's kind of how all writing is. Yeah. You write.
It evolves.
Yes, and you have to be ruthless when you edit, though, because I'll look at something and I'm like, oh, but I really like that line, or I really want to use that, and then I'm like, oh, but it just doesn't fit. So you write, but you spend way more time rewriting, and it's really in the rewriting process that the writing really begins. You get the structure.
I tell clients of mine, Joan, that we're going to put a commercial together for them. The first thing you do is you write a script, And what I do, or I started doing this a long time ago, and it's kind of a CYA deal for me, is I will write the script and then I will send it to the client. And it will say for review and correction.
Sure.
And I tell them, because I've been doing this for so long, be brutally honest with me.
Right.
And, if it's good, just send me back a thumbs up or whatever. Or you can say, I forgot to tell you this. or I don't like this word, or I don't like that line, or whatever the case may be. And I've had people, call me and say, "That's crap."
Start over.
Let's do this all over again. So it's that's kind of how it works.
I have beta readers. I contacted people from somewhere in book clubs and different places and said, "All right, I want you to read this manuscript, but you have to be brutally honest, because I'm like, telling me something because you don't want to hurt my feelings is not helping me. That's not beneficial to me at all." So I had some really, really great beta readers. I had school teachers, and I tried to stay away from friends and family because they can't be trusted. They'll be nice to me. I can't trust them. So.
Right.
Well,
except my mother-in-law, of course.
Yeah, she's listening.
But and what same here. I mean, what we do is not necessarily for the money. I mean, you want to make enough, but that's not the primary motivation. And you all have priced this thing to the extent where I know money's not necessarily the primary motivation for you guys either.
That's exactly right.
It's the story.
It's the story.
It
It's
is.
The
something
hope.
else.
In a world that's so crazy right now, I want to get the message of hope that no matter what's going on, there is still hope.
Yeah. And that's, again, with all that you two have been through, it can't be easy. But the one thing that when you see Steve and Joan and the kids is, I mean, that is pure love and joy.
That's right. Yeah,
That's
exactly right. Yeah, we were in Madison. One of the first trips to Madison that we ever took, we were in a restaurant with all of our kids, and to take 5 kids in the ages of 6 and 9,
And DJ can't speak,
and DJ nonverbal, and to afford that,
but he's loud.
We were very, very broke at the time with all those kids and everything. And I just remember very distinctly, we were sitting at this country restaurant in Madison. And we were kind of having a difficult time, but we were having fun, and we ordered the basics. And when we got done with the meal, this older gentleman from across the restaurant came over to us, and he said, "I've been watching your family, and I just want to buy everything for you today because I want to support what you're doing, and I see how you're working with your special needs child, and I see how you've got all these kids." I mean, that's hope right there. Well, we're thinking where's the next dollar going to come from? And somebody out of the clear blue in this small town walks over and says, I'm going to take care of this bill for you today. And, that just means a lot to you. That's the kind of hope that the book spreads.
Well, kind of going back on what I said just a second ago, as hard as it has been, I don't know, I've been around Steve more than I've been around you, Joan, but I don't know that I've ever seen Steve that he wasn't laughing and joking and cutting up and smiling.
That's right. Amen. That's true.
And I suspect you're probably the same way. You'd almost have to be to live with him.
Isn't that the truth?
It's difficult.
He gets up whistling. It's annoying.
Yeah, I do.
All right, let's sell it again.
Yes,
you can get this thing. It's called Stained Glass Windows. You go to joangraves.com.
Correct.
And you can the initial episode, is that what we call it?
The pilot episode.
The pilot episode is free,
right?
Yes,
and then episode 2 is on there now for
episode
$2.99.
Episode 1 is on there now.
Episode 1.
Episode.
2.
All right, you're about to get flogged here. You know that.
We've had this conversation back and forth.
I'm going to kick
the
you.
first episode, pilot episode, and then the first episode.
All right. Okay. Well, we appreciate you coming in. We wish you the best on this. We really do.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
All
Yeah,
right.
thanks, Tim. We appreciate you.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
All right. We have Joan Graves and Steve Graves. And again, stained glass windows, go to joangraves.com.